Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin just rejected from key resistance, but is now bouncing from key support, not only on this chart, but also on this Bitcoin chart, bouncing from this important level. And also, Bitcoin is now retesting a critical level in the RSI as we have just hours to go until an important Fed meeting. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before we take a look at the Bitcoin charts today, we need to talk about the news today because today we have an FOMC meeting, also known as a Fed meeting, where the Federal Reserve basically decides on the federal funds rate, aka interest rates. And at the time of recording this video, this is happening in just a few hours from now, but by the time I upload this video, it'll be literally just a couple of hours from now, so very, very soon. And in case you're wondering, this will be happening at exactly 7 p.m. GMT, in the GMT time zone, 7 p.m. on the 18th of December, so today. And in case you're wondering what all of this means, in case you're new to all of this, I'll be explaining this in very simple terms, and stick around because this could be a big deal for Bitcoin and crypto, at least in the short term, in the coming hours. And so essentially, to start things off, right now, the federal funds rate is sitting at, basically it's a range in between 450 basis points to 475 basis points. And so in other words, that's 4.5% to 4.75%. That's basically the Federal Reserve's interest rate, essentially. But most people just look at the high end right here. So currently it's sitting at 4.75% on the high end. As we could see right here, that was the previous result at the last Fed meeting, 4.75%, also known as 475 basis points. And we're still waiting for today's number. As of recording this video, this is still about to come out in just a couple of hours from now. But if we're looking at what the market is currently expecting, based on consensus and the trading economics forecast, the market is expecting for that rate to come in at 4.5%, which means a 0.25% reduction, also known as a 25 basis point rate cut. And if we're looking at what the market is actually pricing in, what people are putting their money on right now, it is indeed that rate cut. Right now, the market is pricing in a 95% probability of a 25 basis point rate cut and roughly around a 5% chance of interest rates staying the same. So no change in interest rates. And so, of course, the overwhelming majority is expecting a 25 basis point rate cut today in just a couple of hours. Once again, as soon as we get to 7 p.m. GMT, this number will be officially released. And so what this actually means is if this number comes out as expected, then we shouldn't really see a major impact on the markets, because if we get that 25 basis point rate cut, once again, everyone is already pricing that in pretty much. So it's essentially as if it's already happened. That is what the market is currently pricing for. But if we do not get that expected outcome, and instead, if interest rates stay the same, which almost no one is pricing for, then that would be bad news, because the market would have to change their pricings from expecting a 25 basis point rate cut to actually pricing back to higher rates. Because once again, they're already pricing for that 25 basis point rate cut. They're already pricing in these lower rates. And all you really need to know is the lower the interest rates are, the more bullish that is. The higher the interest rates are, the more bearish that is. So if they're pricing in for these lower rates right now, then of course, if we see that, that's already priced in. But if we do not see the rate cut, if we see interest rates staying the same, then they have to price in higher rates, because they've already right now priced in these lower rates. And so that process of pricing in the higher rates is bearish, and that could cause a dump in the short term across stocks, across crypto. So keep that in mind. So just to sum it up, we're looking for a 25 basis point rate cut today. If we get that, it should be relatively neutral. We might see a small amount of volatility, but if we get something other than a 25 basis point rate cut, especially if interest rates just stay the same, then that could be bad news in the short term. We'll likely see a lot of volatility. And remember, this number comes out at exactly 7 p.m. GMT today. And as always, I will be sharing this number as soon as it gets released, within seconds of this number coming out, over on my Twitter in real time. Link down below in the description and in the pinned comment if you want to get real time updates. But with that being said, taking a look at this Bitcoin chart on the weekly time frame, and right now, technically speaking, we're still in a larger bull market, playing out this bull market signal. And if we're looking at this weekly Bitcoin chart, the MACD as of right now on the weekly time frame is still looking bullish. But of course, in the short term, as I've mentioned recently here on the channel, we're losing a small amount of bullish momentum in the shorter term. So essentially, the bull market just slowing down a little bit in the short term. And we have seen this in the past, pretty much exactly 1 year ago. We saw this, a slowdown in bullish momentum, causing essentially a sideways consolidation for around a month, give or take, 1 to 2 months, before continuing the larger bull run later on. And if we're taking a look at the 4-day Bitcoin chart, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bullish market. So overall, on the larger timeframes, technically things are currently looking more bullish than bearish. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, of course, it was only a couple of days ago, we officially confirmed a weekly candle close above 102,000, which was this Fibonacci extension level acting as short-term resistance at around 102,000. So, of course, that was another bullish signal here in the short term. And right now, 102,000 should technically become new support. And the next major price target above the current price of Bitcoin right now is sitting at approximately 113,000, at least based on this Fibonacci extension level at 113. And just before talking about some other very important Bitcoin charts today, first, if you want to trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I take a lot of my trades right now over on BTUNext. So I'll make sure to leave a link to BTUNext below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim an exclusive deposit bonus that you can only get using that link. So if you simply use that link to make your account and deposit $100 worth of crypto, you get a $20 bonus, or deposit just $500 and you get a $100 bonus, or deposit just 1,000 USDT and start trading and you get a $200 bonus straight into your new account. But that's only available if you use the link below this video to make your BTUNext account and deposit on that account. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link below this video. And in case you're wondering, BTUNext is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But for whatever reason, if you don't want BTUNext, there's also Bybit, which is another exchange out there that I also trade on from time to time. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit as well down below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page where you can claim a 500 USDT position airdrop. So basically a free $500 trade as your first trade over on Bybit, but that's only available if you use the link below this video to make your Bybit account and deposit on that account. But with that being said, taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, and of course, over the last few days, we initially saw this breakout above this line of resistance, which was sitting at around 102,000. And right now, we're seeing a retest of that previous line of resistance to flip it into new support. And right now, that line is currently sitting at closer towards 103,000. And so, of course, at least in the immediate short term, this is some good news to see previous resistance becoming new support. Technically speaking, that is price structure heading in the bullish direction. And technically speaking, we still have this price target based on this breakout pattern right here, sitting at around 111,000. So really in between around 111K to 113K, we do have basically an area of resistance and a price target around there based on this Fibonacci extension and this breakout price target. But that target right there would be invalidated if we see a break back below this line. So if we start breaking back below 103,000 or back below 102,000, especially in that case, that would be a very bearish signal, at least in the short term. So talking about a matter of days or maybe even weeks, that would be bearish if we break 102. But for now, technically speaking, this is just a minor pullback, a little retest here to flip previous resistance into new support. So for now, things are currently looking bullish on the daily time frame unless we break below these key levels like 102,000. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, technically speaking, we're still seeing that bullish crossover in the daily Bitcoin MACD, which I shared in my last Bitcoin video. But obviously, as you can see right here, even though it's still technically a bullish cross and we've not confirmed a new bearish cross, of course, right now it is lacking bullish momentum. We're not really seeing a massive spike in bullish momentum like what we saw last time at that US election in early November. And so if we're simply looking at the time before that, of course, we also saw a bullish crossover in this indicator on this time frame around late October. And what came next was just a short-term pump and then a little bit of a short-term pullback before ultimately the continuation of the larger bull market later on. And so that's the current situation. Technically speaking, this trend is still bullish, but we're currently lacking a bit of bullish momentum, at least in the short term. And if we're taking a look at this 12-hour time frame, of course, we have seen a rejection from this major line of resistance right here, which is sitting at around 107,000. And because this is obviously an ascending line on the price chart, currently this is sitting closer towards 108K. So if we see a bounce back up again, expect some resistance at around 107 to 108K. And if we're looking at the volume profile indicator, of course, we also have a small area of resistance right here in between 106,000 to 107,000. So keep that in mind in the short term. And as for support, we have this center line right here in the middle of this ascending parallel channel. And that line is currently sitting at around 103,000. So right around this level at 103,000, acting as short-term support. And then, as I said earlier, if we break back below 103,000, expect some support at around 102,000 based on this previous Fibonacci extension flipping into new support. But if we lose that level, if we break below 102, like I just said earlier, that would be a bearish signal, at least in the short term, likely pointing towards a drop down towards the lower side of this ascending parallel channel right here, which is currently sitting at around 99,000. And that will likely act as a decent amount of support, as we have seen multiple bounces from this level in the past, as you can see. And also right at around 99,000, we have a major area of traded volume in the volume profile indicator, which will likely act as strong support right there. And that's sitting in between 96,500 to 99,000 approximately. And we could also find a small amount of support potentially at around 101,000 based on this spike in the volume profile indicator. And if we're taking a look at the 12-hour Bitcoin chart right now, as of recording this video, the 12-hour Bitcoin RSI is coming in for a retest, currently retesting this previous line of resistance to possibly flip it into new support, but we're still waiting for confirmation here. So technically speaking, we already confirmed that previous breakout, but right now, this is an important signal to pay attention to. Because if we start confirming with candle closes, the RSI breaking back below this line on the price chart, then in that case, at least in the short term, that'll be a bit of a bearish signal pointing towards that latest breakout being a fake out. So not really a proper breakout. And so in other words, if we break back below this line in the 12-hour Bitcoin RSI, that would invalidate that previous breakout in the RSI. And so essentially we'll just have to wait for a little longer for eventually another breakout at some point later on. But remember, at least for now, we're still technically trending in the bullish direction. If we're looking at the highs and the lows, we're still forming higher lows and higher highs on the price chart, which by definition is a bullish trend. But of course, during these bullish trends, we can see little pullbacks here and there. That's very normal to see. As I always say, basically every day here on the channel, expect some pullbacks in the short term, even during a larger bullish trend. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, right now, we're currently building more liquidity to the downside below the current price compared to what we have to the upside, at least in the short term. And obviously, this is something that I warned about around 2 days ago here on the channel. And in that video, a lot of people were just saying FUD and clickbait, and there's no way we could possibly see a pullback here. But right now, we are seeing that pullback that I was talking about potentially around 2 days ago now on the channel. I was talking about a potential pullback due to liquidity building to the downside. And right now we do have liquidity at around 103,000 or just underneath 103,000. And then below that, we have actually a decent amount of liquidity right at around 99,000. So a lot of these levels are lining up very closely on the price chart as key levels on the price chart. Once again, around 103 and also at around 99K. And so for the Bitcoin bulls out there, those are definitely the levels to hold above. If we lose 103,000, then expect 102. If we lose 102, expect 99K. And if we lose this area, then once again, that really goes down towards 96,500, that area of support. But if we lose that, then expect to drop down towards around 91 to 92,000. But between now and then, of course, we have a lot of support to first pay attention to. And so that is the current situation in the shorter term and the longer term for the price of Bitcoin, and of course the coming Fed meeting in just a couple of hours from now. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button below this video. And once again, if you want to trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, check out the links below this video if you want to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, you can profit from all of that price action by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.